May 2000. Still working at Frame Art Galleries and still reading a lot. So we're going to jump right in to what I was reading. The first book was Once a Hero by Michael A. Stackpole. And he was writing a bunch of Star Wars novels, I believe, so I decided to try some of his other stuff. Once a Hero is what I tried. The main character, well, 500 years ago, this hero, Neil Elfwood, helped defeat this tyrant, but that led into just a genocidal war. So things didn't work out the way he planned. Jump ahead 500 years, and the people of this land are trying to just free their people essentially. And one of them suggests maybe they bring Neil back to life. But is he still a hero? uh, Typical fantasy. I don't think I read anything else by Stackpole that wasn't well, I was going to say that wasn't an intellectual property, but I just happened to glance down. I got thrown off, and it looks like I did read something else because I see his name. But it's fine. Once a Hero, Michael A. Stackpole, a fantasy novel. Then we have East of A by Russell Atwood. This is a noir mystery kind of thing. The main character is whoops. Interesting. Peyton Sherwood. So after we had Neil Elf Ward, I think I said Elfwood, but it's Elf Ward, because right below it I have Sherwood. So East of A by Russell Atwood. The main character is Peyton Sherwood. He's a private detective. He's returning to his office after finishing a case, and there are three thugs and this 16-year-old runaway named Glory, and they beat the shit out of him and steal his watch. And he goes to Alphabet City to get his watch back and find this runaway. And it's just typical noir, just crazy characters, dark locations. First of two, from what I saw on Amazon. And again, this time I think I can confidently say I haven't read anything else by this author. All right. Star Wars X-Wing Iron Fist by Aaron Alston. And in this, it's Wraith Squadron, which is the covert ops for the rebellion. And they need to stop this warlord named Sinj, Zsinj, however you pronounce that. And he's got a super star destroyer called the Iron Fist. So the Wraith Squadron is going undercover as pirates so they can get into his good graces and then destroy him from the inside. I dig the X-Wing books. I love Wraith Squadron, this, sort of the covert ops part of the rebellion. And only a few big characters or characters from the movies, a lot of original characters, so you never know what's going to happen. I've mentioned that before. So that's Star Wars X-Wing Iron Fist by Aaron Alston. And I followed that up with Watcher by Charles Grant. This is a World of Darkness book, part of the Werewolf series. And in Werewolf, there's this thing that they call the Veil, which is essentially, it's like the masquerade in Vampire. The Veil is the term they use for keeping basically the human world from learning about the supernatural world. And so there are the Watchers of the Veil pay attention to all this. Well, there's a serial killer in Tennessee. They think it's a werewolf. So before the humans can figure out what's going on and maybe discover that werewolves exist, they send the Watchers of the Veil send a werewolf named Silent Strider to go and stop this rogue werewolf that's killing people in Tennessee. Charles Grant, great author, and a pretty decent book. Then we have Gambler's Star, Book 2, Legacy and Lies by Nancy Holder. So I read the first one a couple of months previous to this. Yeah, back in March. So this is book 2, and the main character is Deuce McNamara. Gambling was made illegal on Earth, so the moon now is just a giant casino, essentially. It's like New Vegas or Moon Vegas or Vegas Moon, whatever. I don't know what it's called. And Deuce McNamara is kind of a thug for. There's 6 crime families, and right now he's working for this guy that had shown up and said he's going to muscle in on the territory on the moon, and the there's a spaceship that's got like the head of the gambling families on it, and it's destroyed, and this causes basically all out war between the 6 families, with Deuce McNamara kind of caught in the middle. It's pretty good. I enjoyed this. Good, fun, kind of science fiction-y, mixed with, Goodfellas or whatever you do, gangster movie or story you want to talk about. It's pretty good. Then we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Deep Water by Laura Ann Gilman and Josepha Sherman. And in this, Willow is helping clean up after an oil spill, clean the wildlife and stuff, and she discovers a Selkie, which is a shape-shifting seal girl. And so she takes this girl, and she can't like shift back into Selkie form, seal form, while she's all dirty. And so Willow takes her back to the library, to her friends, to clean her up and everything. But maybe there's more to this Selkie than meets the eye. And meanwhile, there are also these creatures called Marrows, which are like mermaids, but deadly. So, Buffy and the Scoobies have to deal with all this. I think they're fun. I enjoy these Buffy novels, for the most part. Mixing things up, now we have The Rock Says by The Rock with Joe Layden. And this is basically the memoir of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Talks about when he was a kid, growing up, playing football, becoming a wrestler. It's a lot of fun. I like Dwayne Johnson. He's an entertaining actor. Never been a big wrestling fan. But there was a time when I was dating someone in wrestling. I've talked about it before. But I usually enjoy Dwayne Johnson in the movies that I've seen him in, and for the most part. And so this was a fun, interesting book to read. Then we have clan novel Zamish by Eric Griffin. I'm not sure how to pronounce this particular clan. It's spelled Tzimisce. This is a World of Darkness novel, part of a huge series from Vampire the Masquerade. It's funny, I looked up on Amazon, and it says number 2 of 7, but then in the description it says it's a 13-book series. But this is the second one. Each book is going to focus on a different clan, and the Zamish, or whatever they are flesh shifters. They're a lot of them don't look human. I think some of them may, depending on how old they are. And this one, this whole series is the politics and ins and outs and infighting and all this stuff between all the different clans. And in this one, this character, the main character, Zamish guy, is dealing with the Sabbat, there's the Camarilla, which is the official vampire organization, for lack of a better way to put it. The Sabbat are sort of the outsiders that don't care about the masquerade and all this stuff. And this particular Zamish, that's how I'm going to say it, vampire is working with the Sabbat. He wants to take down the Camarilla. I found these books interesting. I like the politics and the different clans and everything in the World of Darkness vampire stuff. Then we have X-Men Shadows of the Past by Michael Jan Friedman. And this is just a simple X-Men novel. Professor X learns about an alien invasion, and so he gets a team of X-Men together to find something he needs to make a weapon that will stop this alien invasion. Not a huge X-Men fan, but I like reading these original novels, and this one's fine. Not one of my favorites. I don't have it anymore. But, if you like the X-Men, these are good books to read. And now we have Gambler's Star Book 3, Invasions by Nancy Holder, the final book in the Gambler's Star series. And in this one, Deuce McNamara is the godfather of the moon. So he somehow became the godfather, but he's dealing with Earth wants to invade the moon because of the puritanical Earth people don't like that there's this great gambling thing and crime families up on the moon. Meanwhile, Deuce McNamara's wife has betrayed him and run off, and there's an alien invasion on the way. Now, for the most part, this trilogy was really enjoyable. I liked the characters, I liked the story, I liked the way things were going. But unfortunately, in true Nancy Holder fashion, at least in my experience, the ending was a huge letdown. I don't remember the specifics of it. If it's anything like the other endings of hers that I have a problem with, it's incredibly abrupt. But I really enjoyed most of the 3 books in the Gambler's Star trilogy, but I do know that I was really disappointed in the ending. Excuse me. Let's move on to Star Wars X-Wing Solo Command by Aaron Alston. So this is a follow-up to the previous X-Wing book. And spoilers, the bad guy in the previous book got away. So the Rey Squadron has to find him, take him out, and they get Han Solo to lead the charge, essentially. So this is one where one of the major characters from the movies is a huge participant in the story. But you still have a bunch of original characters that could die. You never know. That's what I like about these books. The penultimate book for May of 2000 is Tagana by Guy Gavriel Kay. And this is essentially, for lack of a better way to put it, generic fantasy. You've got this fantasy world. There's a dark tyrant that rules over the world with fear and an iron fist. No relation to the Star Wars book earlier. And a group of heroes who are going to come together and try to liberate their land. Guy Gavriel Kay is a skilled fantasy writer, but his books do, for me anyway, tend to fall into that sort of just that general high epic fantasy pool. So there you go. And then finally, the last book that I read in May of 2000 is Angel Redemption by Mel Odom. This takes place in the first half of the first season of Angel. And I know that simply because Doyle is in it. Doyle, the demon who has visions that give him headaches. And he uses those to lead Angel. But in this particular case, they have a walk-in client. A woman named Whitney Tyler, who is a big actress, and she plays a vampire on TV. But there seems to be a group of people who think she's really a vampire, so they're trying to kill her. So she comes to Angel investigations, and when Angel sees her, she looks just like someone he knew like 200 years ago, who was essentially a vampire hunter. So Angel, Cordelia, Doyle are trying to protect her, figure out why these people are trying to kill her, while Angel is trying to figure out if she has any sort of connection to this person from his past. Mel Odom's a good writer. I looked into reading other of his books after reading this. It's enjoyable. So, yeah, I think that's it. Question for this video. I really need to start thinking of these before I start recording. How about this? Can you name a book? My glasses case just fell down, and I want to pick it up before I forget because it went in the trash. Can you name a book or tell me about a book that was really, really good until the end? Something that just had a very disappointing ending. Or maybe if you know of an author that does this a lot, or just a specific book, something that like normally you'd be like 4 or 5 out of 5 stars is really great, and then the ending just craps out. Of course, my answer off the top of my head, because I've already mentioned it, and I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, Nancy Holder has done this to me more than once. The first time was in an Angel novel, and I've talked about this. I mentioned it relatively recently because I was talking about an Angel novel that she had written where, it's build up, this incredibly, almost undefeatable demon, and then a simple paragraph that said Angel punched and kicked until he defeated the demon. That was it. It was a terrible ending. And then these Gambler Star books, really, really good. The endings of the first 2 books, which weren't the endings of the story, weren't bad. It was just the end of the whole story just fell completely flat for me. And I, again, because I just come up with these questions on the spot, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. I'm kind of looking around, just seeing if any books pop out. I know some people don't like the ending, or maybe are confused by the ending of The Rising by Brian Keene. I thought the intended ending was fantastic, but I believe he was sort of forced. I don't know. You'd have to ask Brian Keene to write the sequel, City of the Dead, which gave I guess technically it's the official explanation of what happened at the end of The Rising, but I believe he has stated that was not his intent. I love the original intent, if it's true. But anyway, so Nancy Holder's my answer. And so what about you? Is there a book that was fantastic until the end? Is there an author that seems to do this a lot? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter, as long as I'm there, is at Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. And if you're on Blue Sky, I am at EL Smith. That's all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.